Alright, cool. Alright, whatever. Let's get this started. Sorry. We're going back. Patch 8.5 rundown. Usually on these rundowns, I like to talk about what I want or what I would like to see in the game and how the current state of the game is going. The state of the game right now, I think is a lot better than it was before. Ideally, you want to make a meta which forces aggressive plays and forces a wide variety of comps. I think there are still some problems with API optimization, increasing the viability of certain champions like Ryze, like to an insane extent. I think right now Banner of Command is probably too strong. I think that's probably the biggest overall meta change that I'd like to see fixed. Aside from that, pretty much there's a lot of open-ended problems or small things that you can fix in each specific role. But let's go. Welcome to patch 8.5. This is a small patch to 8.4's big patch. It's actually a very large download. We're looking at professional outliers. So this is going to focus on competitive play. Azir, Galio, Ryze. Okay. We're using Zoe after 2 nerfs. We're giving a couple Juggernauts more utilities since preseason. And finally, Eagle Legends' new marksman Kaisa setting on the Rift. Okay. Cool. So Kaisa... new vein. That's all I like to think about her. She is a champion which which doesn't require the support to be around her to be effective, which is kind of what ADs want. The ability to kind of do their own stuff. So yeah, she's gonna be a new vein. Which is cool. I think a lot of people really like, a lot of ADs really don't want to be tied to their supports. I'm glad there's a champion like this in the game. I worry that her 500 range will make her unplayable though in most settings. Azir Q damage decrease has a strong laning phase and strong late game. Lowering the base damage of Conquering Sands gives enemies more time to deal with the Emperor. So they nerfed it by 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, more Azir nerfs. I think the champion is still relatively problematic. I think he's maybe a little bit better with Cassio and Ryze being stronger now. But I mean, he's always been a problem champion in the sense that he's just impossible to balance for competitive play. Because he's also a very, very hard champion to deal with. Galio. Q cooldown and mana cost increase at later ranks. Galio's ability to roam with heroes' interests is tied to how efficiently he can clear waves with Winds of War. Higher mana cost ties his wave clear and ensuing roams more tightly to blue buff. So they nerfed, holy shit, the mana cost by 40 at max rank, and it's down by 2 seconds. That's a pretty big nerf. That's a huge nerf for Galio. I think it's really good. I think Galio is too easy to play mid lane and fits in all types of comps because he has great global pressure. But yeah, this is insane mana cost, so he's definitely gonna need a mana item. There could be a situation where he sees more tier usage because he's such a mana hog nowadays. And this is definitely gonna nerf like all his builds. AP and normal build is gonna be nerfed quite hard with this CDR nerf as well. But I'm okay with Galio nerfs. I just think he's too good at what he does. Jhin. So Jin's relatively bad. And that's... I think that came off the thing where it's like Jin's one of the only ADs that doesn't scale well with attack speed. So a lot of Ardent users and attack speed buffs can't really affect Jhin. If Nunu or Ardent is in the meta, Jhin doesn't get too much off attack speed like other champions. So what did they do? And they put passive bonus damage increased by 4 by like a small amount. Okay, double early rank, which is nice, but pretty small amount overall. Dancing Grenade increased by 10, up to 10% with more, which is cool. More captivating. Root's the first champion to hit if they were recently hit by any damage from Jhin or his allies or by standing in a Lotus trap. That means if he gets hit with Q or ulti, right? Dang, that's a humongous buff. This is a really nice buff. Holy moly. I actually love Jhin. I think he's one of my favorite ADs to play. And I'm really, really happy that because even at the very start, when Jhin first got released, the champion felt strange. That you weren't able to root off anything that wasn't your auto attack or your E. So I like the fact that his W can affect more stuff. And this is kind of a quality of life buff that just makes him stronger without actually buffing his numbers. And I think he's in a spot where he needs a buff like this to be effective. Okay, so Nocturne, passive healing increased, passive cooldown refresh on champions hit, Q missile speed increased. I think he's a problematic champion because he's got global. So what is this? Increased his paranoia blackout by 50%. That's so much actually. That's such a nice buff. Even the blackout period, increasing it by 2 more seconds. That's crazy. Umbra Blades healing goes up 2 seconds down per champion, so he's better at scrapping out. Missile speed slightly goes up, and Shadow Darkness is active. It'll say active until Nocturne reaches his target. Oh, so it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter if. Oh, that's interesting. It doesn't matter if the ulti takes so long that it times out. The W duration stays on him, so he can W and then ulti and it guarantees to stay on. That's cool. That's a nice buff. I like these buffs. I think Nocturne sucks right now. It could use the buffs. And these are all very, very helpful for him. In the end, he might need a higher level rework, and I think they acknowledge him. May need some deeper level changes in the future, but these are definitely all very helpful things to help him get out of the kind of bad hole he's in right now. Olaf, E cooldown decreased, E total damage, AD damage increased, flat R bonus damage decreased, R bonus attack damage now scales with total attack damage. Okay, so we're hitting his scaling to make it better with AD, right? Okay. Cooldown going down is really nice. What? Okay. And then Ragnarok. This nerfs full tank builds. So I think this nerfs right now the current. Oh, I've seen Fringe competitive play in the jungle. It nerfs his tank play and it focuses him more on going AD. I think that's actually a pretty good way to push Olaf because I think most of the times people playing Olaf want to be that like really really big juggernaut that also does a lot of damage but also can explode. So I like the way that they're pushing him toward more AD, and I think that I don't know how good he's gonna be, to be honest. 30% of his total AD seems like a lot. You're probably getting about like 30, 60 extra AD. Quite a lot of extra AD. So you might see more AD oriented builds. I think a lot of times everyone's going Cleaver into full tank. But I can easily see a situation where you go Cleaver into a lot of AD stuff. Maybe even stuff like that stance. Maybe even stuff like Yomu's, to be honest. Like maybe he just starts going Pen. That actually be kind of weird, but maybe, who knows. But it's interesting given his new changes. I like it. Rengar Frosty falls off slowly. Key damage increase. Damage ratio decrease at early ranks, increases at later ranks. Okay, they reintroduced the old Q in the last patch, and he sucks. Like I just think every time I see him play, he is very weak and one of the weakest junglers in the game. So what did they do? They buffed him, fixed a bug here. Presses Q or W their bullet strikes. He'll now buffer these spells and cast when bullet strikes complete. Cool, I like that. True Vision now lingers on the target until elite. Fix a bug where team cause basic attack and basic tapping a champion before a spell. He's not continue stabbing them. Okay, so there are a lot of bug fixes. Frosty fallout timer increased, and less lockout duration for the Q and E. Okay. Overall, a lot of quality of life buffs, a small buff to his Q. The quality of life buffs are probably way more important. I still think this champ is gonna suck, but I'm all of the opinion that you should always look to buff weak champions up, and I think Rengar is a really, really, really weak champion right now. Rise, so he's really strong with the new items. Nothing to say about this champion. E damage increased at early ranks. E spread damage decreased. R cooldown increased. Compared to other mages with good wave clear, Rise's method is one of the more difficult to get right. Is it? Mistiming spell flex against a low minion often means you lose out on both the spread and the last hit. Yes, but that's not a bad thing. That's just how the champion works. Maybe the gap between the high and low tier Rise is particularly stark. Given that the Rise has been popping off in Pro, despite questionable appearances on live servers, making Rise's wave clear easier to access in the early game and reducing its overall potency. Warm Rub's cooldown also targeted at Pro play, given how hard it is to coordinate in solo queue. Okay, wow, humongous nerf to his ulti. I don't know if this is needed, and they made it so the spread damage is a lot less. I think this is overall a nerf. Yeah, this is overall a big nerf, except for at level 1. Sure. Like, I don't even think this is... I agree. It's harder, probably harder for lower level rises to hit the wave clear aspect of things, but you're not making it that much easier for them. This is just a straight nerf. Both of these are nerfs, except for level 1 on Rise. I think it's not a nerf. Or like level 1 and 2. So because 3 doesn't really matter, right? Yeah, they just nerfed the wave player for a little bit. I'm down. I think Rise is too good right now anyways. Shyvana, attack damage per level increased. Cool. Slight nerf. I'm surprised they're even buffing here. Okay, cool. Scarra E stun duration decreased 0.25 seconds. Great. I think Scarra's a little bit too strong right now. So similar to Scarra with other really strong tank junglers like Sedge, could be brought down a little bit. Maybe even Zac a little bit too. Swain. Okay, this is my boy right here. I've been playing a lot of Swain. I don't think he's very good mid lane. I think he's much better as a anti-melee abusing threat top lane. But let's see what they buffed. So they made it so Swain isn't that far off from being balanced. They made it so the cooldown early gets decreased by 2 seconds. Great. Super nice buff that lets you wave clear better, harass better. There's a lot less windows for you to have as a Swain player to do damage. Great. Vision of the Empire radius increased by quite a bit. It's like what, 20% or something? That's really nice. We'll take that. Never move. I always think this is Nevermore. Increased visuals to match. Fix a bug where Nevermove was returning its frame too slowly. Fix a bug where it would sometimes not root its primary target hit by the return portion. So radius just gets very slightly buffed. Very, very slightly buffed, okay? New Overwhelming. Demon Flare now passes through champions. Effects like Yasuo E and Brahmi still block the portion of Nova. Oh, so one person can't block the damage if it kills them, right? And even it doesn't even have to kill them. It'll still do damage to everyone in the line. That's a nice buff. That's cool. The biggest thing is probably the Q buff here, but this is really nice. I definitely think Swain is in a good position top lane right now, especially if I heard there's GOP buffs, and Swain has always done super well with GOP. I think it's his best item. Let's move on real quick. Triss attack range decreased. Share early ranks. W base damage increased. Tristan's early game allowed her to coast too easily. Ah! Why are you shirtless? Sure. Tristan's early game strength allowed her to coast too easily in the late game. We're giving her a notable lane weakness. Lower range, we're giving her a success case all in. Is reducing range the problem with this champ? They're increasing the W damage. Why are they even doing this? Like, what's the point? I understand they're increasing. They wanted to give a nerf buff, but it's like, why do you even bother doing that? Just, okay, what's the problem with this champion? She's too safe. Agreed. So what are they gonna do? Lower the range early so you can be punished earlier. Part of the reason I think she's too good is her W, right? You can buffer it. It resets in 2 different ways. Why does it do that? Just the problem with this champion is the W, right? And maybe the attack range just solves one of the problems, but realistically, like, just nerf the W. In some way, shape, or form. Nerf the buffering aspect, nerf the reset aspect, get that out of the game so I can kill this champion. Because even at 25 lower range, she's going to get more bullied in lane correct. And maybe that's the correct approach, but I think that her frustration problems usually come from W and nothing else. So yeah, she's gonna be weaker, and I like that, but I don't think this is the way I would have went about it. Okay, Twitch. E-base damage increased. Wait, they're half reverting the contaminate nerf. Alright, whatever. I think I have not seen Twitch in a while. I think Xayah is just probably the best AD right now, especially with the con. You're gonna see a lot of that duo in a competitive play right now. Volibear, E knockback duration decreased. The changes of Volibear are meant to give him a way to disrupt. However, the long duration is making it too consistent as a primary initiation or disengage tool. Slightly increased the speed, but decreased the duration of the knockback. I thought the duration of the knockback was pretty quick. They went from what 0.5 seconds to 0.25. The one thing I don't like about this is like I don't know what the numbers are, right? What does this mean? Decrease the duration of knockback. Cool. How much? Give me a percentage at least. I don't need numbers. I reduced it by 10%, 20%. We reduced it by 50%. I just have to play a game and see how it feels. But I'm surprised they don't just give me the numbers for this. Zoe, lots of changes. Primarily, Q does less AoE damage instead of applying more sparkles as bonus damage based on level. Basic attack and W ranges. Basic attack increased. Wow. That's range increases or decreases are always really, really massive in terms of like safety and like relative laning pattern. So this is really interesting. We're both aiming at base damage ratio, giving you its own per level scaling. We're upping Zoe's basic attack range, spell thieves damage to incentivize her sticking around the land of Palo Star. Pushes Zoe to stay in the threat a bit longer to hit her full damage output. Okay, I like the thought process around this. So Q increases Palo Star's damage. Ratio goes up by quite a bit, back to 0.6. No longer deals passive more sparkles to the first target hit. Explosion radius damage decreased, so she can't wave clear us, but she couldn't wave clear that well in the first place before. Now it's still gonna take her like 2 Qs anyways. W enemy lock-on range matches Zoe's new attack range. Damage gets slightly buffed. So she got slightly, like, decently buffed. I don't mind this. I don't. I don't mind Zoe being a situational pick, and I think that she should be that. If she's a blind pick, she's highly problematic, but it seems like they're going to slowly buff her to the point. I don't think she's going to be that problematic. The biggest thing about Zoe, one of the biggest things is that you can't wave clear well with Zoe, and once that stops being a thing, the amount of pressure you can put on as a mid laner by like quick wave clearing and having multiple options, she's a lot more limited in terms of her her power. And ever since the last patch where they nerfed the explosion damage, or they nerfed the actual Q damage, and this patch are nerfing the explosion damage, like she is not going to be able to wave clear that well. Scion bug fixing. Oh, thank God. This is actually. Oh, sorry, I clicked the Scion. This is actually such a big bug. The thing is, I also would like to know how much bigger the buff made it. The damage radius. Like I played this champion. I played against this champion. For me, I thought the radius increased by about 20 to 30%. That's an insanely big radius increase. And so I would love to know the exact numbers behind, what the radius was. How much did it increase and how much did they bug fixing it by? I think that it's really weird that it's giving you very specific numbers for everything, but when it comes to stuff like this or stuff like this, why am I not told how much numbers it is? Does it feel like numbers are scary for the readers? Like if I'm reading the patch notes, I'm already like a more hardcore person. Like I feel like I can handle numbers, Give me my numbers. Banner command. Siege damage, bonus damage should affect her, so take command and behind the banner no longer stack. No longer stack grants to siege minions. Now this is really interesting. Is it only no longer stacks on siege minions? Because I saw someone banner a range minion in an LCS game, and it still did a lot of damage. To the point where I was like, wow, that works as well. You don't even need to get a siege. So I don't mind bannering being a good option for people to siege against, especially against like AP heavy teams. I think it's great that it's in the game. I like that it forces people to initiate. I'm hoping after this nerf it's still a option, because I think that it helps in the game. It helps force people to be like, proactive in dealing with this problem. Enchantment Cinder Hulk. Bonus health multiplier decreased by 5%. Okay, I think tanks are too good, so great here. Active Hextech GOP. Active slow damage is slow decreased. Okay, increased by this amount. Undocumented wait, there was an undocumented ratio nerf, so it's even worse than I thought. Wait. They nerfed it last patch? Okay, well then nerfing the AP ratio and buffing um the slow by a lot. So I don't mind the slow, right? I think that even at 40% it was possible. The fact that it's slow and it gets blocked, the active is slow and it gets blocked by minions. It's like the big heavy hitter to me. I'm just like, dude, come on, just leave the item as it is, and like it was situationally good as it was. Maybe the slow increase by such a big amount will offset the fact that it's slow and it gets blocked. I would definitely try this out. Champions like, if it is good, champions like Swain and champions like Soul will see very large returns from this item again. I hope it's good because I want to buy this item situationally. Warmog's armor. Threshold for Warmog's increase. Okay, Warmog is OP. Let's just put this out there. One of the biggest problems with Warmog's is that the threshold is met with 2 items. Your Cinder Hulk plus your Warmog's at certain level, like 13 or 14 for most champions, hits this threshold. I think it's way too good. In general, I don't mind Warmog's being in the game. It should be an option for people who want a lot of flat health, it's like a counter to poke champions. I think at the moment it's being a counter to everything, just damage in general. And I think that maybe the healing should be slower or something like that. I don't mind there being item counters to certain comps, but at the moment I think Warmog's before this patch at least was preventing like poke comps from even existing. And even after this patch, I'm like, it probably still is too good. So I would like there to be like the opportunity to run split push comps. With assassins, I would like there to be opportunities to run like, poke comps, siege, like stuff that sieges well, stuff like team fights well. At the moment, it just feels like the game is really, really much in a situation where, all right, we're running team fight comps and that's it. And maybe we'll have like a split pusher that also team fights, that we TP into team fight. And I don't like that. I want there to be more diversity and stuff. And this is one of the problematic items for that. Damage to melee minions increased. The removal of bonus damage to minions has left oh, thank God. Holy moly. So they removed 5 damage from most champions to auto attack. That made a lot of mid laners take 2 autos to clear melee minions. If you're getting shoved in, having the ability to auto each minion twice before it dies is like impossible. So thank God they did this. I will miss actually probably on average 5 less CS a game because of this for most of the champions that I play. Cloud Buff Drake. Oh, I freak. Where are you now, dude? Telling me Cloud Buff is underrated? Yeah. This is the buff I recommended before, right? Where it retains some of its bonus move speed while it's in combat. I think this is a great thing. It's has in and out of combat applications. Triples out of combat. It's in combat. It's good. I like it. I think that this is a good step. And there's a lot of champions that are very move speed based focused. And not even that. Think of what 2 bonus percent move speed actually is. What do we give up for move speed in runes, right? Celerity was considered OP at 5%, dropped at 3%. You drop 2% to make it balance. Like, that's how much we value 2% move speed. So I would say it's a reasonable amount of move speed. Very good amount of move speed. Okay, runes. Precision domination stat bonus. Slightly increased. Cool, don't really care. It's very negligible. Press the attack damage amplification increased at early levels. Oh wow, they doubled it at early levels because they felt like it was too weak. Actually pretty nice. I'd probably run it more on top laners as well. Okay. Fleet forward range penalty on minions increased. So range minion healing gets decreased by half. Wow. Okay. So you probably won't see Victor running this. You probably because he was doing really well with this. Especially because the AP ratio for this is 0.4. So you saw like Veigar running this. You saw that. I think there were some TFs running this a while back. I think it was probably too good at what it did, or it was just really awkward to have in the game. I don't mind this being nerfed. I think that they have a lot of runes they can work with, most of the people. Aftershock activates you can't kill. It's easier than it explodes, they damage you. In theory, you can outfight them in the moment of weakness, but that window isn't meaningful. Less than mini wave. I agree. So I would have just nerfed the amount that they gave you early, but I think giving it a long cooldown, similar to Bone Shield, wait, what's it actually called? Bone armor. And the first tier of the resolve tree, where it's got like a 40-second cooldown, it gives you a lot of window to be able to do stuff. I love this nerf. I definitely think Aftershock should have been nerfed before today. Manifold Band now has a cooldown indicator. Nice. I actually like that too. Open parties. It's easier for friends or I don't have friends. Loot changes. We've posted full league tables on the player support sites. Okay, I don't care. Bug fixes. Alistar could correctly queue. What? Oh, never mind. So you can queue up E. Bone play now no longer goes on cooldown without doing anything when Yasuo's actives. Madness completed the quest. Battlecast, Darkstar, Forecast Janna, I don't care. Resistance Alawi. Cool. Nice splash. Oh god. Okay. Following chromos will be released. Kaisa. Okay. Overall, patch seems relatively good. They nerfed a lot of problematic stuff, including tanks, buff GLP, which is a terrible item, nerf banner, nerf Sonic. Thank god, this champion is like the best champion in the game. Buff Swain, great. Nerf Skarner, great. Triss nerf, great. Rise nerf, great. Rengar buff, cool, but he's still gonna suck. Nocturne buff, great. Jhin buff, great. I love this champion. Gallia nerf, great. And a lot of these champions are already worse with Aftershock, right? So stuff like, there were some Aftershock Skarners, there were some Aftershock Volibears, Aftershock Galio especially, it's just made inherently worse, and Azir got nerfed. Overall, really good patch, I like it. They nerfed the most problematic thing in the meta, which is banner, and then they also hit some other problems, especially with tanks. Everything overall looks pretty good. Alright, let's play some ads. See you guys in a bit.